Up in Smoke. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
In the armrest ashtray of seat 18E, FBI agents discovered 8 rawly filtered tip cigarette butts smoked by the infamous D.B. Cooper. The evidence was sent to the FBI crime lab for analysis, but no prints were found, and the butts were returned to the Las Vegas field office. In 1998, the FBI attempted to extract DNA from the cigarette butts, only to learn they had been destroyed while in the custody of the Las Vegas field office.
Uh-oh. This doesn't at all contribute to the myth of this giant missing person conspiracy.
The D.B. Cooper hijacking remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. On November 24th, 1971, a man who identified himself as Dan Cooper, later misreported as D.B. Cooper, hijacked a Northwest Orient Airlines flight, extorted $20,000 in ransom, and parachuted into the night, never to be seen again. Despite decades of investigation, this case has never been solved, leaving behind a trail of tantalizing clues and frustrating dead ends. Among the most overlooked pieces of evidence were the cigarette butts Cooper left behind on the plane, evidence that was later destroyed, adding another layer of intrigue to this case.
I didn't even know that there were cigarettes on the plane. And we've talked about this. I'm a huge fan of this. This is one of
there's many little pieces of evidence that found money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the money thing has been scattered money around. It's such an intriguing case, and again, it's one of the first ones that got me into true crime. I think it's so mysterious, and the details are what makes it so compelling. So I'm surprised that I've never heard.
It's
this.
mythical. No one died, so there was no tragedy in it. So I think that helps, and it helps the mystery. And then it's something like we'd see in movies today, and there's something
it's
like kind of
sexy.
And when you only have a name and somebody says, "Give me money," and they jump out and they're gone, and you don't know what happened to them, and I never know.
Yeah.
As time goes on.
Come on, some grandchild needs to, some relative, somebody.
Well, then you also
something.
The case of some people saying, "Yeah, that was me. That was me. That was me. That was me,"
and copycats and things like that too.
Yeah.
That all is a frustrating part of this process.
D.B. Cooper boarded Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon, bound for Seattle. During the flight, he handed a note to a flight attendant stating he had a bomb. Cooper demanded $20,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the aircraft. His demands were met, and he released the passengers upon landing in Seattle, keeping only a few crew members on board. Once airborne, Cooper ordered the plane to fly to Mexico City at low altitude at slow speed. Somewhere over the dense forest of the Pacific Northwest, Cooper parachuted out of the plane with the ransom money, and despite an extensive search, neither Cooper nor the majority of the money was ever found. More after the break. During the flight, Cooper smoked several rawly filter-tip cigarettes, a common brand at the time. Investigators found these cigarette butts on the plane after the hijacking and preserved them as potential evidence. Given that DNA analysis was not yet common, the importance of these cigarette butts were not fully realized at the time. However, they were still considered crucial evidence as they potentially contained the hijacker's DNA.
No shit. Also, it's like something that the person who you're trying to find handled. It's like, it's not, even if he didn't smoke it, even if they were, like, everything that this person interacted with needs to be kept safe. Hello?
No matter what you think where science may or may not be, it doesn't matter. And what is it, how much space does it take up where you're just like, if we don't throw this out, we have to move buildings.
Yeah.
Since Flight 305 landed in Reno, Nevada, the FBI's Las Vegas office assumed jurisdiction over all evidence removed from the aircraft. On December 3rd, 1971, the Las Vegas office forwarded several pieces of evidence to the FBI's crime lab in Washington, D.C. Hoping to recover fingerprints from the cigarette butts, the accompanying memo from Las Vegas authorized the lab technicians to destroy any evidence deemed to have no evidentiary value.
See, it's like you can't say that because you're not.
He's probably wearing gloves.
Man,
He's probably wearing gloves.
But who gets to deem that evidence not important or not useful? And
I'm sure there's probably things that are kept that, for the same reason, have no value, but for some reason they're kept.
Or there's a renewed interest in a case somewhere down the line, and who knows?
The cigarette butts were not mentioned again in the FBI files until 1997 during the investigation of Dwayne Weber. With DNA extraction becoming more common, the Seattle office requested that the Las Vegas office locate the original cigarette butts. Las Vegas responded that they had searched in their records but could not find them, given that Las Vegas had authorized the destruction of the butts back in December 1971. So they weren't even like, we can't hold on to these for any amount of time. It's reasonable to conclude they were destroyed shortly after being returned from the crime lab. At the time, there was no anticipation that the butts would hold any significant value in the future, so there was no reason for the FBI to retain them as evidence in 1971.
God, that is so frustrating.
Despite the setback, the FBI continued to pursue leads in the Cooper case for decades. In 2016, the Bureau officially closed the investigation, although it still receives tips and reviews and new information as it becomes available. The case remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history, with countless theories and suspects proposed over the years.
Oh my God. Can they make a museum with all of these tips and things that we actually do have that I can go to and pay money to see?
It'd be a relatively small museum, I think. But there is his tie apparently.
Yeah, but also like the tip, like people like write in, I'm sure there's things that, these theories that people are sending in, especially like, around when the case actually broke, that the physical pieces of ideas and conspiracies. I want to see that handwriting. I want to see that postage. I don't know. I want to see a piece of money.
What do you know, Rebecca? What do you know?
Nothing.